So every year, there's a theme. The theme is always the same. It just is sort of turned a little bit. But Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are all about the grand issues of life. One is not permitted to be petty on the high holidays. Pettiness is left at the door. It's only the questions of who we want to be and what does life mean to us and what do we hope for ourselves and for people we love as we begin a new year together. And is there a way to focus in some sense on an aspect of what the tradition is trying to say with the high holidays? And it's so interesting if one simply opens oneself to the language of the high holidays. You know, in English, we tend to say at December 31st, when we want to wish somebody, we say, Happy New Year. And even on Rosh Hashanah, you will hear people say Happy New Year, and that's okay because it's English. But please notice, it never says Shana Smecha, Happy New Year. Jews never say in Hebrew to another person, Happy New Year. We say Chag Sameach, but we don't say Shana Smecha, Happy Year. It's just not a Jewish idiom. It's not the Jewish mentality. The Jews say something very different, subtle, and in some way profound. The Jew says, Shana Tovah. Not have a happy year, but have a good year. It's all about good. Having goodness in one's life and with being good. And one of the things that we're asked to consider on this 10-day journey is what does that mean for us individually? What does it mean for any one of us in this room to experience a good year? By the way, if you know the word Tov, the word Tov is ubiquitous in Jewish life. Beginning with Rosh Hashanah, when you know we celebrate the creation of the world, and the first chapter of the book of Genesis describes how God creates the world in 6 days, but there's a theme. It's not a science book, it's not a science story, it's a poem with a refrain. And God saw everything that God had made each and every day, and God saw that what he had made, and God said, it is good. Ki Tov. It's the refrain of this prose poem, that life is good. And it winds up that when people are created, it is not merely Tov, it becomes Tov Me'od. Very good. We pointed out many times, it doesn't say Mitsuyan, because it's not excellent. And it's not excellent for a reason, the rabbis tell us. We become the partners in the rest of creation. Our job is to improve everything that we inherit in this world. That we are going to make the world a better place. But we start with a fundamental Jewish, by the way, it's a Jewish faith. If people say, what's the Jewish faith? It's not about God. The leap of faith the Jews make is that the world and life is good. Because if you look around, it's so easy to argue life isn't good. By the way, most of the people in this room have it very good. You know, we've talked many times about how life is not fair, but it's not fair to our advantage. We are among the luckiest human beings on the face of the earth. And people who travel and who really know the world and have seen some of the underdeveloped countries of the world and how people sometimes are forced to live in poverty, in squalor, in ignorance, in starvation, in cruelty. The world is a very, very harsh, cold, cruel place. And I know there are people in this room who've had very difficult years, but I'm talking about globally horrific for a major percentage of the people on this earth. And we are so lucky. And my sense is that very often those of us in this room appreciate how very lucky we are, but nobody appreciates it enough. And yet the Jewish people who've had it tough also, by the way, if you have a sense of the vicissitudes of Jewish history and what it's meant, the phrase, a wandering Aramean, the wandering Jew, and a lot of people in the younger generation now never lived in an age when there was not a state of Israel. But for the Jewish people, for some 2,000 years, they were hither and yon and post to post. And they were comfortable in places for a little while, and then they were sent packing. The line of Jewish history is dotted with enormous pain and persecution, and sometimes with death. But we have it wonderful. And for us, it's easy to say life is good. But the Jewish tradition said it when life wasn't as good as it is for those of us living in Fairfield County. And the Jewish tradition still had this leap of faith that life is good and that one embraces life and celebrates life no matter what. One says a shehechiyanu whenever one possibly can. And that comes from this Jewish notion that the world is tov. It's a good world. Despite it's a good world, and we embrace it. And we want to make the most of it for ourselves and for every human being on the face of the earth. So tov is part of the very high holidays, the essence of the high holidays. And then there are phrases you and I, we've grown up with, which we may take it for granted. If I said to you, give me a phrase with the word tov in it, out of curiosity, what comes to someone's mind? Mazel tov. Another one, Yom Tov. And many of us grew up with our grandparents speaking Yiddish, and they didn't say Yom Tov, they said good Yontif. You want to say Yontif is Yiddish for Yom Tov. So it was really sort of a, what's it called? Redundancy. Good day. A Yom Tov is a good day. It refers to a holiday. But we all know good Yontif when we know Yom Tov and we know Mazel Tov, Yiddish. There's one more. I don't know if people know it as much in this room. There's one more very, very important tov phrase with tov in it. I'll tell it to you. The phrase is Shem Tov. And the founder of Hasidism was called the Baal Shem Tov. But Shem Tov is a Hebrew phrase that has enormous meaning. It literally means a good name. But what it refers to is how a person is regarded. What's their stature? What's their reputation? What do we admire about them? What about their character? And so you have three phrases, all of which reinforce this idea of tov. What does it mean to have a good year? Well, it's mazel. We all want mazel. But mazel literally means luck. And if you say to somebody, you should have good mazel without adding the tov, it's luck. It's not fate. It's luck. Everybody should be lucky. Everybody should be lucky. And I was talking to some people before services, and they all said it. They all said it correctly. When you wish somebody a good year, a happy new year, it's always be healthy. It always starts with health. It's such a Jewish value, an understanding of how everything begins if you're healthy. And if you're not healthy, what kind of strains and problems you have to deal with. And so people say, you should have a healthy year. Of course. and to have a healthy year, everybody in this room should have the healthiest year, because we should all have good mazel. And I guess if you won the lottery, you'd have good mazel. So I wish you health and a good lottery ticket. But the phrase isn't mazal alone, it's mazal tov. When we say mazal tov to somebody, it means idiomatically, congratulations. The person who receives mazel tov has done something worthy of value. And we say mazel tov to them in appreciation. And so what do we want for this new year? We want a year in which we have mazel, and for which we do things for which we hear ourselves. Someone says to us, mazel tov. Because it's a year of accomplishment, a year of productivity, a year of growth. What is it to have a good year? A year of growth, of excitement, of dynamism, of accomplishment. There are some people in this room, you know, you're going to be doing fabulous, fabulous things. Young people, older people. And we'll thrill to saying to you, mazel tov. And Yom Tov, we want everyone in this room to have wonderful days to celebrate. Celebrations are not only Jewish holidays. They're any event of a family nature, a personal nature, when one can rejoice, especially with people you love, with family and friends who have a good time together. And the easy example is a wedding, a bar mitzvah, a brit milah. A good old-fashioned birthday. And it doesn't have to be a decade. It can be 63. 17. Except people will love to be 17. 33. A birthday is a celebration. And it's not only that. We hope everyone in this room has a string of good days. And every one of us knows what that means. There are days when just life sings and everything seems to work. There are days when nothing works. Why is that? Everybody in this room has days that don't work. And by the way, when that happens, we think we're the only ones who have days that don't work. We're the only ones. No. Everybody has days that don't work. What we want for a good year is as few of those days as possible, and as many days that sing and are happy and joyful. Not simply celebrations, just a good day. At work, at play, husband and wife, parent and child, grandparent and grandchild, two friends, good brothers and sisters, just having a good old time. We should have a lot of those days. That's what it is to have a good year. And I want everyone in this room to really know what it is to have a Shem Tov. I've said so often, and I reflect on this, I am in awe of the people in this room. As I think of who you are and what you stand for and what your values are, you all have character. And you all are doing something for others. And many of you are taking care of other family members in the most spectacular way. And you're honest. It would never occur to you to lie or cheat. That's why it's appropriate. This room is full of people who have a Shem Tov. But we want it for everyone, and we want it for ourselves. We want to be the kind of people about whom is said, we have a Shem Tov. Mazal Tov, Yom Tov, Shem Tov. And it's not only what we want for ourselves, it's what we want for people we love. We want everyone we love to have health. Everyone we love should have good times. Everyone we love should have all kinds of mazel. And do things for which they are said to which they say, mazel tov. And that they too stand in stature with a Shem Tov. So part of the responsibility of this new year is not simply for a good year for us, but we must do everything we can to make sure people we love and care about, beginning with our family and extending to our friends and our community and our world, that we help them have a good year. And very often it has to do with how people feel inside. People who feel empty, it's not good. People who feel empty have trouble having a good year. And people who are lonely have trouble having a good year. Our responsibility is to make sure when we can't always, by the way, but when we can, we help people deal with loneliness. And we tell them over and over and over again how wonderful they are. Our responsibility is twofold. If you want to help people have a good year, it's companionship and it's appreciation. Companionship fights loneliness. Appreciation makes one feel valuable and good inside. And everyone likes to be told they're good. Everyone. You know, there's a play on Broadway right now. I don't know how many of you know it. It's called Hamilton. Have any of you heard of Hamilton? Yes. And it's written by just a genius whose name is Lin-Manuel, what's his last name? Miranda. Lin-Manuel Miranda. And he wrote a play about Alexander Hamilton that's running on Broadway. It's a musical. And you know it's all in rap. It's in rap. And it is the rage. And by the way, Ruth and I saw it. It is fabulous. Just fabulous. And if you want to see it now, all you have to do is mortgage your house, as Ben Brantley said. So anyway, this genius of a kid, of a man, who also he wrote the music, and he stars in it. There's a story about him. He's 7 years old, and he's just beginning to take piano lessons. And so he goes to his first recital. Now, if any of you have been a parent with a child who goes to his first recital, you know what that's like. Shoot me now. So he goes to this piano recital at 7 years old, but he's good. And he sits down and he plays whatever ditty he plays. He's never done this before. He tells the story. And he plays. And when he's done, the room applauds. The room applauds. He has never experienced applause before. And so he decides to play another. And he plays another. And when he's done, the room applauds more. He plays another. And another. And he finally has to be dragged away from the piano. Because he loved the applause. And applause comes in many forms. Sometimes it comes when you do a performance, but most of the time, applause has nothing to do with a performance and has nothing to do with clapping of hands. Applause is a way of appreciating. Applause is a way of saying to somebody, hey, that was really good. And not only was that good, you're good. And part of what it is to give other people a good year is to say to them, in words, as much as possible, You know, you're wonderful. Or thank you. We don't hear you're wonderful enough. We don't hear thank you enough. We don't hear I love you enough. Those words have a power of affirmation that makes the spirit soar. And one comes away feeling, this is a good year. Companionship and appreciation, expressed in word, expressed in deed. Wherever we can, help others feel they're not alone and they're appreciated. We will help them have a Shana Tovah, a good year. And that's our theme for these high holidays. And the question then becomes, how do you symbolize good? I don't know. And I didn't know. And I came up with an okay symbol. I wasn't happy, and I'm complaining to my family, well, what am I going to do? I got to do this. Well, yeah, this will be okay, but it won't really work. I want something that works. You know, I'm coming off the hug. That hug was so delicious. You know, and I often think of past symbols, and every now and then people will tell me about the symbols they remember. Everybody remembers their own, has their own favorite symbols, And for me, I think of the silent whistle. Does anybody remember the silent whistle? I love the silent whistle. And the two doors for choice, to choose life. Anyway, so I always want to try to come up with a symbol that at least speaks to the idea. And so, I am constantly asking my family, well, have you come up with anything? Then I'm asking friends, I'm emailing. So it was a group. This is the most group effort that I've ever had. Very often I just know exactly what I want. I couldn't find it. So I got a lot of help from people who were very creative, beginning with Jill. Because what I needed was a symbol for good. And I found it. Where? You see, for those who are deaf, there's sign language. And you make with your hands certain gestures which represent words and concepts. And so we went to the formal sign language board to see what the symbol for good was. Eureka. I don't know how many of you, by the way, I wouldn't have known until I went. I'm going to show you what the symbol for good is in sign language. It is so profound in my mind. I'm going to just do it, then I'll talk about it for a moment. This is the symbol for good in sign language. It starts from the lips and comes into a gesture of giving. Of giving. I mean, of giving. What's good in life? What's essentially good in life? The opportunity to give to someone else. By word and by deed. So I want to show you the symbol where we have tried to depict this. Now, this was a collaborative effort in my family, because if you go to the symbol website and you see the drawing they have of the person doing this, he's not nice. So I said, well, I can't use this. You don't warm to the guy. By the way, it's a guy. I want it to be not a guy, but not a girl. I mean, I need something that's sort of sex neutral. And so I went to Matt, who draws. And Matt created for me the pictures that we ultimately made into the symbol. And I needed, by the way, this kind of drawing is a special drawing. It's called a lenticular drawing. Does anyone know the word lenticular? When we were kids, you could get a baseball card, and if you moved the card, the picture moved. That's called a lenticular drawing. And I mentioned this to some people, including to Denise, and she got me to a guy who knows a guy who knew a guy. And so we had Matt's drawing turned into a lenticular. And this is the drawing. You like it? Well done, Matt. There you have it. So I now want you and Ari to put this up on the easel. And if you have to move for it to lenticularly move, but if you move around the room or you even approach it at any point, you will see, but no matter what position you're in, you get the idea. The idea is, this is what we hope we are in the new year. Very nice. The symbol of good for all of us to have a Shana Tovah, and we all say, Amen. All right.
We would be pleased to send a complimentary DVD of this program to anyone who wishes to support JBS, the Jewish Broadcasting Service, with a tax-deductible gift of $36, double chai or more, to the nonprofit organization Jewish Education in Media. Simply visit the JBS homepage and click on the Donate button to make a donation by PayPal or your credit card. And please indicate the program for which you would like a DVD. Or you can send your tax-deductible check made out to Jim, Post Office Box 180, Riverdale Station, Bronx, New York 10471. And again, please remember to indicate which program you would like to receive with our compliments. And we thank you for your kind support.